know if you heard I was reaching out earlier before. But yeah.
No, I didn't hear
any information I was reading out before.
No, I didn't hear anything from before.
Okay. Well, yeah, there was this tribunal group that get together. It's called the Natural and Common Law Tribunal. I mean, they got one of our Mars in there, and there was this brother that was, he said that he's black, but he's from some tribe. He looks a bit more like European to me. But she just found that the whole corporation has been compromised because it's been infiltrated, and because they've been kind of making some grounds on the common law to hold these people accountable for against crime against humanity and all those type of things. Well, they kind of infiltrated and buy him out, and he's been compromised. So that's been bringing that issue to the nation anyway. And just talking about traitors among us, most of these people that you see talk the loudest, as I was saying, shout the loudest, and they act like they're the best warrior for us. They're the biggest sellout and compromisers within the struggle, and that's what keeping our people back most of the time.
Yeah.
We're talking about the culture earlier that people love people that are sellouts, traitors.
Yeah.
People love traitors. Yeah. The culture was talking about just now.
Yep.
Yes, Brother Kojo.
Yes, more. So we're here.
Hope, we can have this one flowing. Definitely saying there's few questions that we definitely want to be answered. So as I was saying on the show before I start for this strong, anyone got any questions, please feel free to ask them, but just don't ask the question in a way as if you're telling us, especially about the Moors. As long as we can have that conversation, it's something that you heard and you want to clear it up, you can call. If something that you read about, you want to clear it up, you can call and ask. But when you're going to come and tell us, then it's going to cause a little bit of tension. So we just hope that the show will flow in a bit of vibration and we can continue that way. Yes, Brother Kojo. Beautiful, beautiful.
You can hear me? I'm clear?
Yes, I can hear you very
all
clearly.
Right, proper.
Can you hear me clearly?
Yeah, yes. You're clear. Yeah. And also we're streaming live too on YouTube too, so we get this word out.
Good, beautiful, brother. Yes, Brother Kojo. So let me start with some probably questions that I've known until the phone line pick up. Let me give the phone line up before. So right up to everyone locked in north, south, east, and west, we have our Grand Chief Kojo L on the phone line, all right, up here with us until 4 p.m., all right? So we're just going to open the phone line today. I think we just want to leave it for anyone to call in for any questions we have, all right? Because as I said to you, with all your nationality out of the day, we want to get here, but obviously our nation got some questions that they want to clear. So feel free to phone up and ask any question. The number you need is 0207 193 0174. So that's 0207 193 0174. The phone line's open for anyone to call in to ask their questions, all right? So peace and love to you. Yes, Brother Kojo. One of the questions, I want to put a call, when is it? Sunday. Let me see if I can put the questions, okay? Yeah, so obviously we kind of made it clear about the hieroglyphics, and the word M-A-U-R is translated in hieroglyphics from where the Moors has been in, the hieroglyphs in the pyramid.
Right.
So one of the next question I believe the brother was asking was the Moors that was in I know that the Malian Empire is the Moors, but most people are confused that there are two different Muslim and Muslim, and when they talk about the Muslim, they really confuse them with the Moors. So I really want to shed some light on how different, even though the Moors was, because the Mali Empire, as it's saying, most of our people, they claim that went into slavery, left from the west side of Africa, which is the Mali Empire.
Yeah.
And we already know that they was teaching Islam in even Timbuktu, because when people think about Islam, they still think it's a religion and not a science. I wanted to clear up what Islam means to the Moors and what's the difference between the Muslim and the Muslim and where the empires was. Then if you could go into that, but I would give peace and up to you.
All right. So it's in the language. So Muslim is modern and Muslim is archaic. So if we're talking about Moors and we're talking about ancient people, they would be archaic or ancient. So if you hear people today talking about the Moors are Muslim and the Moors invaded and the Moors did all these negative things under quote unquote Islam, right? What they should do is that they should go to their leader, right? They should go to their leader of history, their leader of history. Let me just find the reference point. Should go to their leader of history, the great Dr. Ben, so they can be schooled as to what is this thing called Islam, right? So we're gonna go to page XV111 in Dr. Ben's book, Africa, Mother of Western Civilization. Everybody knows who Dr. Ben is. I don't want to hear any crap. And Dr. Ben had a PhD, a doctorate in Moorish history. Not a doctorate in African history, not a doctorate in Kemetic history, not a doctorate in Caribbean, West Indian history, not a doctorate in Phoenician history or Carthaginian history or the ancient black gods of Egypt history, Moorish history. A doctorate in Moorish history. This is what Dr. Ben had. This is why we use him, because he's qualified by having a doctorate. We're not just quoting some Negro off the street with a table and a camera telling you about they're the conscious community leader people. We're talking about somebody who has a doctorate, PhD. The African, yeah.
You're going to read it, yeah?
Yeah, I'm going to read it right now. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, brother, please.
The African origins of world civilization, being referred to in this work, predates the Hebrews, Adam and Eve, and their Garden of Eden spoken of in the first book of Moses. So get the Hebrews out the way, they're modern. It shows the distinction between myth and historical fact, and heavily documents Western, European, and European American civilizations' earliest philosophical experiences from the beginning of its origin in Al-Kebilan, in brackets Africa. Right, so you can get all that African BS out the way, because that's Al-Kebilan over there. That's not Africa. For all the we're African people, that's Al-Kebilan. Ask Dr. Ben, who has a Moorish PhD. And as well, when they talk about the Western and the West, and they're trying to convince you that the West is some Europeans, no, it's not. The West is Moorish. Europeans and European Americans are not the West. They're from the East, actually. Really and truly. They're not Western like that. In so doing, the entire basis for Western philosophical thought, called erroneously Greek philosophy, has been demonstrated to be, in fact, African and Asian heritage adopted by Europeans. Oh, so Greek philosophy is not Greek, it's actually African and Asian heritage. The same being true for so-called Judo-Christian religion and Islamic culture and religion, out of the philosophical teachings of the indigenous Africans of the African Great Lakes region and the Nile Valley mystery system. So Islamic culture comes from the Nile Valley, according to Dr. Ben. Any more questions about who founded Islam? Any more questions about what Islam is? Or are you still confused? And don't forget, that's not Cujo talking. That's your black scholar, your master teacher, Dr. Ben. Your master teacher, Dr. Ben, just told you. Islam came from the ancient Egyptians. So anybody who's talking about the Moors and Islam and they raided this and they raided that under Islam, that's ancient Egyptian culture that they used to raid wherever they're raiding. They just called it Islamic, but it's actually ancient Egyptian. So now are we going to throw away ancient Egypt because we found out that Islam goes back to ancient Egypt? I yield the floor.
Rise up brother culture. Well put together. And just to put it in perspective, if you look at the Christus, yes, we know Christus is our type of, we'll call it religion for people to understand. And then they turn it into Christianity. And it's the same thing where Islam, I self law and master, they said Islamic and turn into a culture, double culture. So our people need to understand every single thing on this planet, we created it first. The only thing they did was amend or change it to demonize it. And if you understand that, you understand that all the story that I've been hearing about the Moorish came in and, attacked Africa and they put their people into slavery and all this is a load of bull.
It's all a lie.
If you really go and study, we can see that. Okay? So we need to move away from that. The phone line is open, so everyone is free to call and ask any question with Brother Kojo. Okay, so in the meantime, we're going to continue with some information. So Brother Kojo, give time to clear that up. So
one more thing before we get too far. The thing with Muslim and Muslim.
Yes.
So
yes,
as Moors, when we engage with people who are of Islamic faith, right? When we engage people who are of Islamic faith, the first thing they bring up to us is, well, how come you don't do salat, and how come you don't do deen, and how come you don't do all these things that's Islamic? If Moors are Muslim and Moors invaded Spain and the Muslims brought this and that, immediately we tell them, oh no, we're not the sects of Islam. SECTS. We're not the sects of Islam. What do you mean you're not the sects of Islam? You say that you're Islamic. I hear Moors say Islam and I hear Moors say Allah and all that stuff. Yes, but the difference between us and you, Mr. Muslim who goes to the mosque and prays 5 times a day and all that stuff, is that we're Sufi. So because we're Sufi, SUFI, that means we are one with Allah. We don't submit to Allah. And guess what the Muslim's gonna say? Oh, you're Sufi. Oh, and then that's it. There's no more discussion. Now it's brotherly love. Now it's brotherly love with the Muslims. And they're not telling us that we have to come to the mosque and we have to pray 5 times a day and all that stuff, because we're Sufi, which means we're Islamic metaphysicians. We're mystics of Islam. We're not religious zealots. We're mystics when we say that we're Muslim, Moslem, aka Moors. That's why you don't hear Muslims call themselves Moors, because they're not mystic. They're religious. And this is not a religious thing. Noble Ali said this is divine and national. Divine is not religious.
We have a call on the line, but quick before you go, can you clear up the difference between Muslim and Muslim?
No, that's what I just did. A Muslim is a Sufi.
In terms of saying Muslim said they submit to Allah. Is that right?
Yeah, Muslims submit. Muslims are one with.
That's Moors, Moors, okay? Peace and love. We're joined by Brother Russ Oshing. Peace and love, Brother Russ Oshing. Welcome to the show. Rise up, my elder. Peace and love to you.
Love to you, Brother Ikon, and blessings to brother over in Africa or in Canada. Kojo.
Peace.
Kojo.
Brother Kojo, blessings to you, my brother. And as we always say, of the supreme, omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient, Alpha and Omega. Blessings to our family, right across Mother Earth. Yeah, I've always tuned into these wonderful discussion, and we do not, I would say, reasoning, because I don't like any discussion between us. We all have our own knowledge and belief. What I heard, and what the Brother Ben said in defining, yes, out of we came Ishmael and Israel, and out of Israel came the modern definition of Christianity and what you see of what they now speak of Islam. That was a definition. So it came out of we know that. And obviously we know that Dracolian rulers has used it most evilly against our people. So we also know that. So where we are today, my brother, we can never tell the fullness of the truth by those in slavery. What that tells us is the period of time when the different nations came in and conquered and say they were ruling us. Because many of the account of what they did is what they wrote for their own selves. So the only way you can define yourself must come from the Upper Nile Valley. As he said, everything came from the Upper Nile Valley, and it came down to Lower Kemet, all the philosophy, faculty, teaching, including definition of spirituality. So therefore, because the Upper Nile Valley was never conquered by anyone, then we could confidently say, with logic, that they would have the true account of the different stories that different civilization, half truth, half lie, and half makeup, is what they did. So that is why we look to Ethiopia, that can define all civilization, first who brought knowledge to all humanity, and who came back into Mother Africa to conquer Egypt, because without Egypt, they couldn't declare themselves as being the civilization of that moment in history. So that's what we know, Brother Ikon. So,
peace, my elder. So, Brother Kujo, if you could just shed some light, why, as Brother Russell Shing said, we have to go to Ethiopia to find out what really happened to us. In terms of the change where the Egyptian Empire was going to be fall, they know they're going to fall. And where did the Moor come into that, Brother Kujo? I don't know if you could expand on that.
Well, brother,
why was the science given to the Moors to continue to share with our people?
For the same reason that we talked about in the beginning, that the Moors, M-A-U-R, were the high priests of Anu.
That's right.
So because the Moors were the high priests of Anu, they were the high priests. Okay, for example, we brought up Mali as well earlier, right? We brought up Mali, right? Who are the Dogon when it comes to Mali?
Enlighten, brother.
The Dogon are the high priests of Mali. The Dogon are the ones who found out about Sirius A and Sirius B and Sirius C without a telescope. If you go to Mali right now, you're going to see the high priests of Mali wearing fezzes. Why are they wearing fezzes? Because they're the high priests of Anu. Do you call them Dogon today? Just like when you see Moors today wearing fezzes and turbans, and you're talking about they're Muslim and all that stuff. No, they're not. They're the high priests of Anu in 2021. Because the Moors were the custodians of the ancient Kemetic mysteries when Kemet fell. And George G.M. James told you that in Stolen Legacy, that everybody who says that they're Negro, Black, colored, African, or whatever should have that book on their bookshelf, because they know the story of George G.M. James getting the ritual assassination where they pulled his tongue out his mouth because he talked too much. And he was sanctioned by the colonists to write his book. And his book, Stolen Legacy, he was parading that book around for years before he can get it published, because nobody would touch it because of what he was revealing in the book. And what he revealed in the book was that when Kemet fell, the high priests of Anu, the Moors, became the custodians of the ancient Kemetic mysteries. And they preserved the culture of the ancient Egyptians. The same stuff that the elders talked about, the Moors were the ones who were the custodians of it when Kemet fell. Because everybody knows Kemet fell. Nobody can't lie and say Kemet didn't fall. So to talk about ancient Egypt in 2021, you're probably playing yourself, because there's no ancient Egypt right now. That's dusty pyramids, according to Dick Gregory. Dick Gregory told you, why are you guys going all the way over there to Egypt? See some dusty pyramids. Why are you seeing that when there's pyramids over here? And the pyramids over here are older than the ones in Egypt. So if there's pyramids in the Americas and pyramids in China and pyramids all over the continent, not just in Egypt only, why is this thing only focusing on Egypt all the time? Why are they always focusing on Nile Valley all the time if there's pyramids all over the world? Because they don't want you to think and know that you're from everywhere and you civilize the planet. They want you to think that you're limited to some country in Africa only. But you're the founders of civilization. There's pyramids in China right now. There's pyramids in China that are mountains because they got covered over with trees.
Rise up, brother. There you go, because this is a very important point. When you look at the pyramid, we know we are the pyramid builders, we're the mound builders. So if pyramids are everywhere on the earth, and we were the one that built the pyramid, I mean, it doesn't take a novice to work the out. We're joined by 527. Rise up 527. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, rise up.
Thanks. We're open for some questions today.
Yes, I have got some questions today, for your brother in America. Is your brother America?
Yeah.
In Canada.
Is it Kojo? Spelled with a K or a C?
K-U-D-J-O, Kojo.
Kujo, right, okay. Yes, I have a few questions. I don't know how long you have for your show to end, but
we're here till 4 o'clock. We're here till 4 o'clock. I know you're very historical,
yes,
so that's how we end up.
Absolutely.
Go ahead,
reasoning,
brother.
We've got to come to a reasoning. It's not about no argument and everything, because I've heard what he had to say, and it doesn't really sit well with me in terms of historical facts,
sorry to interrupt you.
Very hard to.
Sorry to interrupt you. Just for the record, that wasn't me talking. I quoted from Dr. Ben so far, right? I quoted from Dr. Ben, and I spoke about the Dogon of Mali, which is a historical fact that the Dogon of Mali wear fezzes. It's not my opinion. I just wanted to put that out there.
Okay, I mean, with the Dr. Ben thing as well, I think I briefly heard of what you said. I mean, okay, who gave him the doctorate? Who gave him the doctorate that he was on about?
Who gave him the doctorate?
Who validated the doctorate? Right?
What do you mean, who validated it?
Yeah, well, he had a doctorate. What university did he go to get that doctorate?
University of Spain or something?
Of Spain. He went to University of Spain to get a doctorate to say that we are the true Moors.
Yeah. What's the problem?
Do you know the name of the university, please?
I'm gonna get that for you right now. Hold on. Get that for you right now. Dr. Ben, education. Oh, sorry. He earned doctoral degrees in cultural anthropology and Moorish history from the University of Havana, Cuba, and the University of Barcelona.
Okay. Okay, so those are predominantly European settings, right?
No. Who the Europeans learn from?
Okay, anyway. Okay.
No. Who did the Europeans learn from?
They learn from Africans. We know that. Yeah.
Okay, so what do you mean? So what do you mean that's a European university? What do you mean by that?
What do you mean? Do I mean by that? Because obviously, once the European got the information, they doctored it.
No, they didn't.
Everything that is associating with Western academia.
No, they didn't. Because if that was the case, if that was the case, if the case is that the Europeans took everything from us and doctored it,
right? Yeah.
Right, in order to make it be something, that wouldn't that be messing with history?
Well, we've been messing with the history that they gave you.
No, but what do you mean?
They kept the real thing for themselves, but they gave you a different version.
But how do you figure? How could somebody be the originator, teach somebody else, and then the person who got taught is keeping some of the stuff for themselves and then making up? Do you know how much history we gave these people? You tell me 5 Europeans.
Right, but you must understand.
You're telling me 5 Europeans fabricated millions of years of history that they got from our ancestors? Stop this, bro.
Yes, they did.
Stop this.
Yes, they did.
No, they didn't.
To understand is
no, they didn't.
You are a descendant of people that were stripped of your essence.
No, you are a descendant of that. No, you are a descendant of that. I'm not a descendant of people who were stripped of anything, because I was never, ever a slave. My people were never slaves. Moors were always the masters. Only Africans, Negroes were the slaves. Moors were never the slaves.
If what you're saying to me is the truth, then you must come up with an original language that predates the language you're speaking to me.
No, I don't, because we're the founders of everything.
No, you have to.
No, I don't.
You must, because
no, I don't.
Africa, we don't speak English.
No, I don't. Because Filipinos speak English and they speak Filipino. What's the issue? What do you mean it doesn't mean anything? Everybody else on the planet, right? Everybody else on the planet that has another language could come to the Americas, for example, and speak English and not speak their language at all unless they're in their house. Other than that, they're speaking English like everybody else around here.
Colonization.
Come on, bro. Stop the BS.
No, colonization. That's how we got to speak English.
Hold on, my brother. So hold on, yeah? You're saying what does language have to do with our situation that we're in? Because why we do it? Because we worked out. Hold on, brother. We worked out to a point, whether you want to believe it or not, that you're going to say that the Europeans mislead us so much that they're telling us that we got we passed those from the Egyptians to the Moors, which is the eyepiece of Anu, which is something good in that sense. Because if they're telling you that after Egypt fall, they gave the knowledge to the Moors or the eyepiece of Anu, whatever you want to say, to the point that we have this knowledge right now. So when we're going to go back and talk about language, I'm wondering what does language have to do with our struggle at the moment that we're in? Because whatever document you're going to find, this system is dominated by English. So I don't understand where this conversation is going, brother. Can you elaborate on that?
I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but you wouldn't understand because your worldview is disorientated based on your recent history. Yeah, the reason why I brought the language in because there's language spoken in Africa today, that predates English, that goes further back, millions of years ago.
And
languages are still spoken today.
So what?
Cultures, you have a culture attached to that language, that goes back millions of years ago. Those people never said anything about the Moors, or we are the Moors.
Did they say anything about dark-skinned people? Hold on, let me ask you a question. Did those languages say anything about dark-skinned people?
Dark-skinned people? no, they've identified.
Hold on. No, I didn't
themselves.
ask you about identify. No, hold on. Listen to what I'm asking you.
Yeah.
Listen to what I'm asking you. I want you to listen with your ears. What I'm asking you, right? Did the people in ancient times that had languages that weren't English say anything about people who were dark?
No.
So they were talking about people who were pale? Who were they talking about when they talked about our people? Listen. Listen, because people are human beings, and they look a certain way. So if somebody who was speaking a language from, there were two different people, two different cultures, two different tribes that have a different language that they don't know who they are because they're speaking different languages, but they look the same.
I'm not quite getting you.
Of course you're not quite getting me. Of course you're not.
What you're saying doesn't make any sense.
Of course you're not getting me. Of course.
Can I come in?
Let me just
Can I come in?
Yeah, 1 minute, Russell. Let me ask the brother this, yes? You're talking about English language. So, did our ancestors, we're saying from millions of years ago, did they call themselves African?
Did they call themselves African?
Simple question.
Did they call themselves African?
No, they never called themselves African.
Okay,
no.
so brother.
So why you call yourself African today then?
So hold on, brother. This is the problem with us. This is the problem with us. You're going to come and say our ancestors didn't call themselves Moor, but they didn't call themselves African, and everybody's calling them.
The reason, okay, I'll give you the point. That's what you're making. You're trying to justify the reason we shouldn't call ourselves African. But what I'm trying to say to you, in this modern time, for administration purposes, the continent that we can clearly identify as what we come from is called Africa.
No, Europeans did that. That's what Europeans did.
No.
That's what Europeans did.
No.
That's what Europeans did. Stop lying.
No.
This is why. This is why. This is why.
So you have to understand.
No, you have to understand. You have to understand.
Let me finish my point.
Your point is dull. Your point is dull.
The African, in Africa, will then proceed to tell you who they are.
There's no such thing as African.
If they belong.
There's no such thing as Africa.
Hold on.
You know, you can't say Africa. You can't say Africa.
When you come to it,
it's you can't say African. There's no such thing as African.
Hold on. They've got their own identity.
You can't say African.
That they belong to.
You can't say African.
No, brother. Listen. You don't understand me. See, because you are just English, but you got a black face. That's why you don't understand.
My face is brown. What are you talking about? My face is brown. I don't have a black face. I don't have a black face. I don't have a black face. No. Hold on a second. Because what I don't understand, right? What I don't understand is what I'm trying to figure out, right? Is how come our people would claim to be everything else. They would claim to be ancient black gods. They would claim to be the cosmic mothers. They would claim to be the Hebrew Israelites. They would claim to be the Nation of Islam. They would claim to be the black
Christian
gun club, whatever. They'll play to be the African whatever. They'll say that they're the Carthaginian and the Phoenician whatever. They'll say that they're the Caribbean and the West Indian. And they'll say that they're the state. They'll say they're Illinoisan and New Yorkian. And they're going to say that they're Asian and Oriental. And they'll say all these things, but they won't say that they're Moors? That's dumb.
Listen.
That's dumb. No. There's no reason. 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 I'm not going, bro. I told you. Remember what I told you what this is about, huh?
They are in trauma, all of them.
Right? You're a traitor. You're a sellout. That's what you are. You're a sellout and a traitor. And you should get off this line right now because you're a traitor. No, I'm getting angry. I'm getting angry because this is the same thing that happened last time. This is the exact same thing that happened last time. The thing was going properly. The thing was going properly. The thing was going properly. We're reading from books referencing our history. We're referencing books.
so we can get this conversation clear, all right?
You're calling in here to try to convince me about something that I'm not a Moor? F you. I'm a Moor. I don't care what you call yourself. I'm a Moor. And you're not going to tell me that I'm not a Moor. You're not going to bring up anything on here that's going to convince me that I'm not a Moor.
Right, so Brother Kojo, let's take a little time out.
What the hell are you talking about? You guys always do this.
Bring Rasoshing in. Brother Kojo, let's leave this conversation with our brother for now. Let's bring Rasoshing in. We've got Brother Geb also on the line. I'm sure he's got some questions for you. So Rasoshing, make your point, brother. Peace and love to you.
What I would like to say, my brother, is this. Brother Kojo has a lot of historical truth concerning the historical reality. We know that Ishmael defined what has become of Islam, and we know that Israel, right, Jacob, who changed his name to Israel, has also defined, and we've seen the evil of them. And as I said, when you read the history of the conquerors, every conqueror destroyed the libraries that they came and saw. Whatever indigenous kingdom, they destroyed it, and the generation of children were subjugated and brought into new faculties, which doesn't belong to it. And just to let Brother Roger know, yes, Lower Kemet was given up as a ransom, but Upper Kemet, which is today where we refer to as Ethiopia, was never conquered. Lower Kemet was given up as a ransom because every civilization had to come.
Let me ask you a question. Can I ask you a question?
In order for them to declare.
Can I ask you a question?
Their so-called superiority.
Can I ask you a question?
Civilization.
Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead, Brother Kojo.
Is Haile Selassie a king of Ethiopia and an emperor?
Haile Selassie, when he is king of Ethiopia, and he's also the emperor of an empire,
okay,
which we define as the entire continent, which the world today refer to as Africa. We don't call it Africa, but we will use it because it is the most common definition that recognizes where that area of our creation.
Okay, so let me ask you this question, right? If Haile Selassie, okay, let me ask you this: did Haile Selassie go into exile?
His Majesty, when Mussolini, right, invaded under the order of the Pope of Rome, and when they were launching the mustard gas, as you know, His Majesty fought on the front line. His people requested him that the only saving grace, because Ethiopia was part of the League of Nations and under the constitution of that reality, no members were supposed to attack each other. So therefore, His Majesty had to go to Europe and state the case, not just for Ethiopia. So, you know, we will not, there's a lot of propaganda.
No, because you're going into stuff, you're going into conversation that I didn't ask you about. Like, I don't care about whether he went to the UN or the League of Nations or whatever. I don't care about it. I asked you a question. Hold on a second. No, hold on a second. Slow down. I'm asking you, did Haile Selassie, the emperor and king of Ethiopia, go into exile? That's the question.
Yes, he went into exile.
All right. Okay, all right. So he went into exile, which means that he's not in the country that he rules, right? Because somebody put him into exile. That doesn't look like him. Who put him into exile?
No.
Who put him into exile? No. Who put him into exile?
When you say who put him into exile, His Majesty went to Europe in order to address the League of Nations members, and in so doing, right, he resided in London, in Bath. But during those periods, His Majesty didn't stop pursuing until when he got what he wanted. And when we say in exile, while he was in exile, Ethiopia was not conquered. Certain areas were possessed by the Italian, but you'll find that His Majesty was always in communication with all our guerrilla fighters that was still maintaining the fight in Ethiopia. So when we say in exile and who sent him, His Majesty still had commandment of what was happening in Ethiopia.
You ever notice the pictures of Haile Selassie in the office with Jesus, with European Jesus behind him?
No, I've never noticed that.
You should probably go check. Hold on a second. You should probably check, because if he's emperor of Ethiopia, right, which means that he isn't repping for no European Jesus, he would have Asiatic Jesus in his pictures.
My friend.
So no, hold on a second. Hold on a second. Don't tell me any BS, because I come from the school of Rasta. I know high priest from Bobo Hill and all that stuff. I have the Black Supremacy pamphlet. I know that Charles Edwards proclaimed his nationality and said Emmanuel. And he started telling these people about UN declarations, rights of a nationality. So don't try to tell me like I don't know what's going on. I'm not dumb Negro. I'm not African guy. Like I said before, I'm a Moor. Hold on a second, because no. I come from the school of Rasta. Turbans come from Moors. Turbans come from Moors. Turbans come from Moors.
The school of Rasta, my beloved, is not the school of His Majesty.
Bro,
if you want to understand,
stop this. I'm not playing this game that somebody else is superior to what the Moors have. Right?
Kojo, let's take a little time out. You just make 2 points. The turbans definitely come from the Moors, and you can see the Rastas wearing the turbans now. So that just says a lot. This thing with our people, right? We don't really mind which sectors you are joining or you're adding to. That's fine, but you need to go back to the root. But what I want to say, I want to bring somebody in the conversation now, because I don't want to end up into an argue conversation like last time. We got Brother Geb. Rise up, Brother Geb. I'm sure you got a question for Brother Kojo. Peace and love to you, Brother Geb. Welcome to the platform. Peace and love to you.
Peace and love to you. Hotep to you. Hotep to Brother Kojo. And with all due respect, I hope Brother Kojo is not beyond disreproach, because him telling our brother to F you is unacceptable.
Of course it is.
Now that being said, my brother, the reason why I'm calling is because there was a conversation with my wonderful brother Ikon a couple of weeks ago that I really would like to clear up. And it's really just a matter of a correctness. My understanding from listening to Brother Ikon was he said that there are only two elements of a contract. One, offer, and the second, acceptance. And I'm saying that is incorrect. For there to be a contract, there also has to be consideration. An offer and acceptance doesn't say what is being offered and what is being accepted. The element of consideration is what brings into what you make the offer and acceptance on. And there was a disagreement, and I would just, really for listeners' sake, want to clear that up, because I know what the answer is.
No, what the answer is to...
So rise up, Brother Geb. So the reason why I tell Brother Geb that there's no acceptance, there's a contract, is offered to you, and there's no say the word again, but I want to make it sure. He said
consideration. He said consideration.
I said things. I said there. Oh, so thank you, brother, for clearing that up, because really, what the conversation started because the scenario that was used is if a police officer was to stop us, right, or stop anyone, but in particular a brother who is a Moor, then the brother who is a Moor would say, I have no contract with you, therefore you cannot give me a speeding ticket, a parking ticket, etc., etc. And I was saying, well, that is not part of a contract. That Europeans, who I don't support, obviously, but they have laws, but the type of law that we're referring to does not come under contract. That is one of what they call their obligatory law.
No, what do you mean it doesn't come? What do you mean it doesn't come under contract? Don't you have to sign something in order to have a license?
No, brother. No. Listen.
No. Don't you have to sign? Don't you have to sign something?
Brother, thank you for the question. Now let me answer. I'm not talking about a driving license.
But that's what we were talking about, though. That's what we were talking about.
Brother, no, you wasn't on the show. That's not what the brother was talking about. I gave a very
let me clear it up here, but again, can I
brother,
for you?
let me finish.
Okay, go ahead.
I made a very clear example, and the example was the scenario that we put forth was if somebody is driving a car on the street, right? And the police stops, and the police says, where is your driving license? Where is your insurance? The information that Brother Ikon gave was that we don't need to be concerned with that because we're not under contract. And I was simply saying that is not part of a contract. This is an obligatory law that you must have a driving license. You must have insurance to drive a car on the road. Now, I'll rest on that. And if you want to add to that, Brother Ikon, please do.
Rise up, brother. Yes, I was saying to Brother Gab before, basically, in contract, give me the three options. I don't want to be clear. I don't want to misrepresent what you said, brother. So give me the three options you said that you see in contract again. You see there's an offer, an acceptance, and a...
Then you have an offer, right? And you have acceptance. But you also have to have what's called consideration. So let me just explain. If I say, brother, I offer you, and you say, I accept, then there's no contract because we need to know what's being offered and what was accepted. And that is called the element of consideration.
Okay. So as I was trying to explain to you, if a policeman stopped me and said he wants to give me a ticket per se, and I say to him, no contract. So if I say to him, no contract, we can't go no further because we got no contract.
Yes, in essence, that's what you were saying, and I'm saying that is not covered by contract law or contract because it's what's called obligatory. This is their rules, their system, saying you have to have this. This is not a contract, brother.
Brother Kujo, I don't know if you want to shed some light on what I'm trying to explain to the brother about contract rules.
So if something's obligatory, that means it's customary, right?
No,
that this is a standard. If you're obliged to something, that means it's a standard. This is what you.
Brother, on the statutes of the country, the
by
law.
statute, it's a law.
Statutes aren't laws, though. Statutes aren't law. Statutes aren't law.
Thank you, brother.
Statutes aren't law.
And Brother Geb, Brother Russell and Brother Geb, statutes and acts are not.
That's not law.
That's not law.
No, brother. Let me be clear. Let me be clear. Firstly, let's deal with the issue of contract and then statute. Statute is indeed a law.
How is statute a law?
Right. Okay, Brother Geb, you see, like I said, not missing people. If you listen to yourself, you said it has to be, a contract has to be an offer and an acceptance. So if you offer me something and I don't take it, the contract is finished. And again, go and look at the definition of statutes and act, and you can see that it's not law. So we're not going to say and mislead our people. Just go and read the books. It's in the books.
Hold on, brother.
It's in the books.
Brother, listen. I agree with you. Listen to me clearly. I agree with you. If if you are dealing with a contract, right, and there's an offer and no acceptance, then indeed there is a no contract. I'm simply trying to explain to you the scenario that you are lending on to support yourself is not correct, because police tickets and speeding tickets are not contractual.
They are.
How are they not contractual? The only the reason why they're let me put it like this. Hold on, let me put it like this.
They're not contractual.
Let me put it like this. Let me put it like this.
That's your opinion.
Let me put it like this. Look at it from this perspective. Look at it from this perspective. Look at it from this perspective. Look at it from this perspective, right? A statute is a rule of an organization or an institution. That's what a statute is by definition. So
No, it's not, brother.
no, hold on a second. Hold on a second. Hold on. Don't.
A statute is a written law passed by a legislative body.
Okay, so what's a legislative body? Hold on a second. Hold on a second.
Brother, where are you getting your definition?
Hold on a second. Hold on a second.
Well, no, I'm asking the brother a question. Where are you getting your definition?
From Oxford.
You didn't say where you're getting your definition from.
From Oxford. What do you mean from where? From Oxford. From a dictionary. From a dictionary.
Go to a law
From
dictionary.
an Oxford. From a Oxford. From a Ballantyne's. From a Black's Law Dictionary. From a Heard's Revised Statute. Whatever you want to go to. I'm not saying my opinion. I'm saying this is what it means. Hold on. Wait a second. Wait a second. Because you're trying to make a point, right? You're trying to make a point when you're all over the place, because we're not talking opinion. We're talking, this is what it is. I'm not speaking from my, hold on. Why can't I, you just talk for 10 minutes. Could somebody else get something in?
Because, brother, I'm looking at the law dictionary as we speak.
Read statute. Read statute.
Okay, I'm reading statute. A federal or state written law enacted by Congress, so first thing law, enacted by Congress or state legislator, respectively local statuses or laws are usually called ordinances. Regulations, rulings, opinions, executive orders, and proclamations are not statutes. This is a law. So when there's a law, it is not contract.
Yes, did you listen to yourself? Did you listen to yourself?
Brother,
read it again. Read it again.
This is why this is supposed to be about questions, not people bringing their opinions.
Listen, you want me to read it? Listen.
Yes.
A statute, a federal or state written law enacted by Congress or state legislator, respectfully, right? Now, that's a period. Now, respectfully, now it goes on to a new sentence. Local statutes or laws are usually called ordinance, and then that stops. Then the new sentence. Regulations, rulings, opinions, executive orders, and proclamations are not statutes. So it tells you what a statute is, then it tells you what a statute is not.
So, Brother Kev, let me ask you this question.
Well, hold on. Did you understand that a statute is a law? Do we agree there?
No, we don't. And I'll tell you why.
Okay. Go ahead, bro.
What is a statute?
Well, I just told you. A statute is a law.
No. So in definition.
Now, when it comes from this system.
Somebody, you're talking over me again. You finish reading and I'm trying to talk to you to answer the question you're talking about. Just stop for a minute, brother. Listen to what I'm saying to you.
I thought you asked me a question. You said, what is a statute? Wasn't that a question?
Yeah, but I'm just saying what you're starting to answer you. Okay, a statue. If I ask my son what a statue, he would tell me that it's a fiction.
They tell you it's a.
He would tell me it's a fiction. It's a man that's made out of stone, and they put on some block. That's what my son would tell me.
No, that's a statue.
It's the same thing.
statutes.
Listen to me, but again, words have family. All words are the same. Stop, still, stay is the same meaning.
No,
Just
brother,
like
statute and statue is spelled differently.
it doesn't matter if it's spelled differently. That's what
There's
I'm
a
trying to teach you,
root.
brother.
There's a root to words.
It's
There's
what
a
they
root
trick
to
us with.
words.
It's what they trick us with. They use these words, and then we think it means something.
There's a
It's
root
the
to
same
words.
thing.
So, but brother, you're using an English word too. You're using contract.
Hold on, no, brother, man. Hold on, man. Contract is what it means. It's not about English word. I'm trying to say to you, in English, statue means something that stays still.
But I guess statue.
Okay, my brother, let me finish. It doesn't matter what you say. Statues is the same word.
No,
Stop trying to twist me over.
Okay, look at it like this. Look at it like this.
Act is something. Hold on, let me finish.
Brother Ikon.
Act is something that somebody played. It's something fake. And you just said Parliament had to verify the statute and the act. Parliament can't make laws. It's the people make laws. That's where we're going wrong. They cannot make laws because any laws they're going to bring out, they need to ask the people vote for it. That's the right way to do it. So any other thing from that, it's fake. It's not real. That's what I'm trying to bring to you, my brother.
well, brother, I don't know. Well, this is what I'm telling you. You are so. Where are you getting your definition of contract from?
We're not talking about that.
I'm assuming we're all using English language here.
No.
That's right.
I see what you're trying. I see what you're trying. Don't try that. Don't try that. Don't try that. Don't try that. Hold on a second. Because people been talking and I'm supposed to be answering questions on here and anybody asking any questions. Forget this. No. Hold on. Because you people keep bringing up languages and talking about languages and what languages do we speak or whatever. Listen. No, there's no with all due respect. Don't try to placate me. Don't placate.
I'm not trying to placate.
Don't placate. You don't have to tell me about with all due respect and all this.
My brother, listen,
What you mean?
We're kind of having a conversation, brother. Let's not argue the situation. We are showing you that.
What do you mean? I said what I mean, and I meant what I said.
That wasn't me.
I'm talking to that individual. Because that individual to me is a sellout and a traitor. Because you're not going to tell me that our people are everything in the world, but you're not Moors. How could you not be Moors, but you could be everything else? That's absolute incompetence. That's absolute incompetence. With regard to that, what you just said, because you're trying to tell me about why I shouldn't tell him F you. What do you mean? This is the second time that we're debating about are we Moors or not. You're not going to convince me that I'm not a Moor. So don't go there. Hold on a second. I'm making a point. Could you be quiet so I could make my point?
No, I agree.
Let him just finish his point. Let him just finish his point. He just want to argument. Let him just finish his point, please.
Hold up. I sound argumentative?
No, I said we sound argumentative, so let him just finish his point and then he can speak. You just stop cutting into him, please. Let him finish what he's saying.
I accept that, brother.
Thank you.
Like I'm saying, people got told F you because that's my personal right to say that to anybody. That's my right. And you're not taking my right from me because I'm not Negro, black, colored, first of all. Second of all, you're coming on here telling us about contracts, and I have a dictionary in my lap right now. And I know that what you're talking about in how you see it is right. That's how you see it. That doesn't mean we have to see it how you see it. We're showing you on top of what you're saying an act and a statute is, we're saying look at it from this perspective as well. So you can have a deeper knowledge of what it is. Because what you think it is not what it is. You're playing yourself, thinking that you know something. Hold on. Let me make my point. Make my point. Let me make my point because you came on here. We didn't ask you to come on here. You came on here. And this is not what this is supposed to be about. You're supposed to have a question. You're not supposed to be bringing your opinion about something. We don't care about your opinion because we cared about it the last time and we got nowhere for 3 hours. We got nowhere and we were getting somewhere. And then all of a sudden people are calling in with their opinion again and wonder why I'm not telling people F you. What do you mean? I've been here before, did this already. So the point that you're making with regard to contracts is valid. What we're saying, the point that you're making with regard to obligation and offer and acceptance is valid. We're not even arguing that. The argument is that when you look up statute in the dictionary, the second thing it says, it's act. It's an act. And then when you go to A in the same law dictionary, it says act. In Scottish practice, to do or perform judicially, to enter of record, surety, acted in the books of a journal. Act noun, denotes affirmative, expression of will, purpose, carries ideas of performance, primarily that which is done or doing, exercise of power, or effect of which power exerted is cause, a performance, a deed. Where say anything there about that's the law?
Okay, brother.
No, where did it say anything in that definition of act that an act is law?
Hold on, brother. Listen, everything you just said, I agree with on the issue of the word act. I am dealing with a different word, statute.
A statute is an act, though. A statute is an act.
Brother,
a statute isn't what you want it to be. A statute is an act. A statute is an act. So don't say a statute as if statute applies. Statute doesn't apply anymore because we already know it's an act. It's not a statute.
Are you going to facilitate this? Because you asked me to let the brother speak. Now I'm trying to speak.
No, because you don't deserve to speak. You're lucky you're not getting FU like the other guy. You're lucky you're not getting FU.
Let's let brother skip because you read the definition for him. So let's hear what's gonna say now.
What's there to say? He should be saying, you know what? What he should be saying. What he should be saying is, you know what? I've been on here long enough. Let me give somebody else a chance in line to ask a question. That's what he should be saying. But these people have no honor because they're traitors and they're sellouts. And all they want to do is keep the people from not knowing about their Moorish birthright. Anything to take away from the attention about us being Moors. They're going to talk about contracts and adjudication and all this other BS just so that we don't talk about the fact that we're Moors.
Okay, can I speak now?
No, you can't.
But let him speak.
What the hell are you talking for?
Thank you. So, listen, Brother Cujo, I respect.
Don't tell me that brother stuff, huh? Please. Don't play that brother stuff with me because I'm not playing with you people.
Brother Cujo, I respect your right to self-determination.
No, you don't. No, you don't. You don't. You don't respect my right to anything.
Brother Cujo, don't interrupt. Let him just
what do you mean don't interrupt, bro? This is the second time we're doing this.
I know, Brother Cujo, but let him make him point.
This is why does he have to make a point? Hang up and bring somebody else on who has a question.
Brother,
what is this?
Let him make him point. Let him finish his point.
What
please.
Point? He hasn't had a point for 15 minutes, bro. He has had no point for 15 minutes, just running his mouth for 15 minutes. You know how much information, you know how much books I have around me that we could have read in 15 minutes to give people some info? You think I'm going on the bookshelf pulling books from 5 a.m. to sit on here and talk about contracts with these idiots right here?
Okay.
The hell are you talking about?
Brother Cujo is sounding exactly like who he is.
Who's that? Tell me. Who am I? Who am I? Tell me. Who am I?
Brother, you sound pretty disrespectful.
Oh, I don't have a reason to?
No.
Oh, I don't. I don't.
I'm your brother and I
No, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. Don't placate me.
Anyway.
If you're my brother, you'd be like Ikon Bay and calling me on the phone if you're my brother. You ever had a conversation with me? What are you talking about, brother? The hell are you talking about? I don't even know you. I don't know you.
I haven't had a conversation with you, no.
I don't know you. Don't tell me about brother. You just get a brother pass because we look the same? You better earn your brotherhood. What are you talking about?
Can I just finish and then I'll
No, leave somebody else in line. There's people behind you that have questions.
Well, it's either I'm gonna finish.
Make your own show. Make your own show and talk on that for 5 hours. Why are you coming on here to talk for 5 hours and this is not your platform?
I didn't realize this was your show.
2 weeks.
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Thank you. So, brother,
2 weeks.
Called up to.
Of course they're gonna mute me. Of course they're gonna mute me. We don't hear nothing that you're saying. I don't care what you're saying.
Rise up, brother Kev.
Don't hear nothing that you're
just
saying.
want to make sure that
F you.
Dialogue with our nation.
Disrespectful, and we're disrespectful. How more is disrespectful? You know what books I have around me? I'm pulling out because we have this class today, and these people coming in here talking their BS.
From the stereo strip.
Probably trying to prove some point.
In the conversation, rise up to Empress, invoking voices. Peace and love to you, man. Let me hear what you have to say so far with the discussion. Peace and love to you.
People need to get punched in the face. That's what they need.
Big up to you, Pidge, loving the knowledge. Big up the brother who's calling in and brave, and he's being brave and asking for, saying his beliefs and nothing.
Say brave nothing. That's incompetence. Why is he calling in here for? With his opinion.
Kinds of views, to bring us about this community. I will say that yes, it's good if you can learn your mother tongue. It's guiding you to learn a certain type of language, do that. You get what I mean? But for the collective, we speak English. And although it is a dog language, at the same time, it's a language that's understood by everybody. And we've been put into kind of binding contracts or binding, basically there's just a paper genocide going on. Do you get what I mean? So speaking in our mother tongue may connect us spiritually, and hold weight and hold power. But when we're speaking with these or interfacing with the system, it's English language, or even it's not even English, it's legalese or whatever, that looks like English that they're using on us. But we'll be able to read it and see the genocide.
Rise up, man. Let's take these 3 messages and get back to the phone line.
Bring me on the show real quick.
Rise up, invoke. Boy, I tell you this.
This guy, whoever's talking, he just sounds like a proper agent. Ikon, you honestly do need to get him off the show. Come on. He is being blatantly trying to rile Brother Puja up, and his points are invalid. He is chatting shit. I'm sorry. Get him off.
Sis, I can hear every word you're saying.
Alright, so we got one more message, and then we can get back to the phone line.
Release the line. He done it on purpose because it seemed like an attack, like from last week following this week.
Exactly.
Stick to the facts, so the people can choose the acts and the statutes. Say it itself that it's not law. If it was law, it'd be called law. Just
exactly.
Like contract law.
Common sense.
Just like we've got trust law.
Common sense.
National law. Do you get what I'm saying, bro? Please allow it. Allow it. Equity law. Or law of equity, equitable law. Maritime law, canon law, acts and statutes. That's commerce. No, we've got commercial law. Say what it is, isn't it? We are real people. We're sentient living beings, men and women. True and right in our purpose. Do you get what I mean?
Let me suggest to you this, and everyone, please keep this in mind. This is your civic responsibility. Because one of the things that we're doing is teaching our people to be better citizens. Being part and parcel of this government, we are to live the life according. We are enforcing the law. We are not violating the law. You must understand that. And so we are teaching you the jurisprudence that governs those civic affairs. Some of it you're familiar with, some of it you're not. The damage has been that you have been assuming that people who have been governing are legitimate. And so you've looked at yourself from a subordinate position. No, we are the government.
Exactly.
They are servants. They've been racketeering for quite some time, and we have every intention to bring it to a screeching halt. But we can't unless we or you, the people, decide that you want to stop being niggers?
Islam. Rise up to everyone on the phone line. So we'll take a break there. So we should be back now. Everybody should have taken a breather and has more balance out. Okay? Rise up, brother. Who you have on the phone line?
Yeah, rise up.
Brother Naya?
5537.
Okay. Let's take that brother because he's running on the call. Rise up, brother. Have you got any questions first today? Peace and love to you. Yeah, go on, brother. Go on, Dr. Abu. Peace and love to you.
Yes, I just want the brothers them and the airway to conduct themselves in a way that some young people are listening, you understand? You know,
that's right.
You can't just get on the ear and call on a man trade. What group of things that are into the way. But not that we are doing that. We're here to listen to each and every one and see where we can find a solution. You understand? So, you know, and people are telling people to take off people and take off people. The management of Galaxyafiwe will come out of here. You understand? Simple as that. But keep on doing the work here and give thanks.
Give thanks, my elder. Give thanks. Much love.
Yeah, rise up.
Yeah, man. Budum. That's what we say. Yeah, man.
Yeah,
so rise up to everyone on the phone line. Russell Shing?
Yes, my brother.
Okay, you want to shine in some light. But as I'm saying to you, this conversation,
I want to thank Dr. Abu as one of the management of Galaxy and knowing how far Galaxy come from, just like we who know how far we're coming from. And I've liked what he came and said. And what Brother Gibbs said, my friend. I listened and, you know, you all saying the same thing. What Brother Gibbs is saying is correct. A contract is a personal agreement when often accepted, but there's conditions. Every country must have its laws, which you have criminal law and civil law. And that is how every country, right, maintain. Just as if you go to Singapore and commit against their law, you're going to be extremely whatever.
So what's your country? What's your country?
So difficult.
What's your country? You brought up Singapore. Well, what's your country though? What's your country? My country is Morocco. What's your country?
I think I'm right here in the Caribbean, in Jamaica.
No, but what's your country? Because Jamaica, but
of the sovereign rulers.
Yeah, but you're not Jamaican though, right? You're not Jamaican. Are you Jamaican?
Brother Ikon, why is Brother Pujo allowed to interrupt everybody?
What do you mean why? I'm a guest.
Well, my friend,
I'm a guest.
My great-grandfather,
you guys are being disrespectful to the guest.
They all have blood ties to this area that I'm in.
What's your nationality? What's your nationality? What's your nationality?
The nationality of here is, they say, Jamaica.
No, what is your nationality? I'm asking you. What is your nationality? That's what I asked you.
The only time I will define
what is your nationality?
Africa is free.
What is your nationality?
Well, at the moment, I am deemed to be a Jamaican, my friend.
So that means you're a slave then. So you're a ward. So you're a ward, right? So you're a ward. Okay, so you're a ward because we know that Jamaica is a fiction. We know Jamaica was created by Europeans. That's why they got their independence. So we know that Jamaica is a fiction. So because you're a hold on a second. So because you're claiming to be a fiction, no. So I asked you what your nationality is. You said Jamaican. Why would you say you're Jamaican then? Why would you say your nationality is a slave to some Europeans? Why would that be your nationality if you're so free? If you're so much your ancestors, if you're so much your ancestors, why didn't you say your nationality is Cushite? Why didn't you say your nationality is Cushite if you're so Cushite or so ancient Egyptian? Why didn't you say your nationality is ancient Egyptian? Why are you going to tell me your nationality is Jamaican and I'm supposed to listen to you? You're a minority. You're a minority. Why am I listening to you? You don't know who you are. You got a license? You got a license? You got a license. Do you have a license? 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 But you're on here though. But you're on here. I'm so rude and I'm such a fool. I'm so rude and I'm such a fool, but you're on here. But you're calling in here.
You're like a mad dictator, my brethren.
All right, let's
Listen, stop this dumb shit. Okay? Stop it. This is why our people are getting nowhere. This is why our people are getting nowhere. Because they think they know something when they're dumb asses. And the whole world knows that they're a dumbass. You're telling me all this African stuff for an hour and 47 minutes. You're telling me about some African Haile Selassie and all this BS. I ask you your nationality. You're telling me you're Jamaican? You're telling me you're Jamaican? That's your nationality? And you're the conscious whoever that's supposed to be teaching the children and all that stuff? You're telling me you're Jamaican. And then when I tell you that you're a traitor and a sellout, you're talking about I'm rude? Rude? Not being rude is why they killed Khalid. Not being rude is why they killed El Hajj. Why they even killed the Prophet. Trying to play all this love with our brothers or whatever, when all these people are traitors and sellouts. All of them. All of them. I only rep for the people who I had some contact with, and I know that they're solid. I either made the eye contact with them, I either stayed at the house, I talked to them anytime, got their number, I called them up, they call me, ain't no issue. Everybody else is lady in a red dress. Everyone. I come in most humility. There's no way you can go through all these 3,000 videos and see or hear the type of discourse that happened with these Galaxyafiwe African nigger sellouts near the UK. Keeping our people black, deaf, and dumb. Keeping our people deaf, black, and dumb. And when the truth comes up about we're Moors, oh, here come all the sellers and the traders. Doing everything to get people's attention off from the fact that we're Moors, and this is what we're supposed to be talking about, that we're Moors. This is the second time. The first time, I already knew what was up, cussed everybody out. Second time, they're mad that they're getting cussed out. How are you mad? You just had an example of what happened last week. You think it's going to be different this week because you're calling it now, and after you guys did your little background talk, you know, and you know what you could do also? Put this in line with exactly what Kwame Brown's doing right now, exposing the traders in his realm, where he's the free man. And he's the free man, and he's talking about all the traders who you people been letting get passes, sniffing chairs of women. That's your leader guy. Your black leader guy who got book on people's book lists and all that type of stuff is going around sniffing chairs where women sat down. That's your boy. That's your boy. Your boy is the ones like Kwame Brown's talking about with the go along, get along gang. That's what we're talking about with these ones right here. All these traders and sellouts in the Moorish stuff that we're in our paradigm. And then there's people trying to, you know, make this look like what they think it is, not what it is actually for real. We got our eye on all of them. So we're going to call back in and see what happens. Let's see if they calm down. Because let's see if they calm down.
corporations. Yeah, so everyone needs to know what words fucking is. Facts out here. We're speaking. Yeah, and just getting to the point. Yeah, these countries cannot move because they're living beings. So they have to move by acts and statutes. That's what gives them the way to move. Yeah, these people, these corporations, they need criminal law because they're moving through corporations. Like it's commerce. We're talking about true law, divine law. We are of our own right. I am that I am. That means something. No one didn't bring me here. My mom made a contract with the Most High Creator. Again, my father. No one else outside of that. You get me? No one's bringing harm to anyone else, so no one should be trying to force anyone to do anything. Freedom and justice. We come in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Yeah? And we need to tell the people the truth. But I'll say this, everyone is acquiescing to the genocide because we have a right to choose. We have the freedom of choice. You understand? Brother Creature is right. I don't know what you are all saying. The rest of you chat shit, to be honest. Sorry, Creature, don't even waste your breath. Man said, do you have a license? Oh, I love you, Creature. Don't even let them rile you up. We love you, we know. Those of us who it's for, those of us who it's not, it's not. It's not about everybody, you know what I mean? It is about everybody, but not everybody's gonna get it. We know this. And on top of that, I just want to say that Brother Cujo is here out of his free time. He spends his free time doing his best to uplift all of us, he's doing his part, man. Give him his dues. No one's going to say everything suitable to your palate. You know what I mean? You don't start putting out your name until you start acting like a fool, bruv. And to be fair with you, to be fair with you, the way it is that he's here, he's not even getting paid for this show, do you know what I mean? It's that he's here out of his free time just for the love of the people. Do you know what I mean?
Rise up, Empress in Broken Voices. Peace and love to you, ma. We've got 2 messages from our Empress Shar, and then we're going to get back to the phone line. Rise up to Brother Kuja on the phone line. Peace and love. That's it. If you're locked in, if you got chopped off the call, please feel free to call back so we can have a proper conversation or we can rise our nation. Peace and love to you all.
I don't think Kojo Ella is rude, you know. I think that it's frustration for these people that have a lack of understanding who they really are. To be honest, I'm listening. I don't know everything just right out, but I don't know rubbish. It don't make sense what you're saying. Thank you, Invoking Voices. I really appreciate what you're saying there. Like, maybe 1,000 is a fact.
Rise up, Empress Shah. So, we've got the interjection from the Mars who's been studying and getting to the knowledge, and that's their opinion on it. Rise up, Brother Kuja. Welcome back to the show. Peace and love to you, brother.
Peace.
Brother Kuja, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Peace.
We have 4 minutes to the top of the hour. We're going to take our advert at 3 p.m. So you can elaborate on the conversation so far and see if we can just get back everything into touch. And I understand your frustration, brother, because when you got this knowledge, you can't really listen to things that you know is not true or not real. And that's what I'm saying. That's why I also want to keep this show as a question and then get that people are coming with their opinions. So understand why you're getting like that, my brother. But let's just see if we can get everything back on a balance. Peace and love to you.
Peace, wherever we're at. I don't know where we're at.
Brother Kuja, you there?
Yeah, peace. Wherever we're at, I don't know where we're going from there, because I purposely just hung up so you could sort out whatever you're sorting out.
Okay, all right. So the phone line dropped since that, and everybody's off the line now. So I mean, we're gonna take the ads in a few minutes, but really and truly, where we was at, and I mean, many of the line now, I don't know what the listening could understand what we're saying. Yes, there's made their statutes. Yes, they made their acts. But the brother, as our brother read before, our brother that read from the book, you know what I mean? Brother Geb, as it even stated that it was passed by Parliament. And if you ask ourselves the question, these people in Parliament, who voted them in? Just if you just want to be simple like that, who voted them in? The people. So the people that voted them in, there's no way they can go behind these closed doors, behind this office, and make these stats and these acts and these acts, statutes and these acts, and then we come back and adhere into them. You know what I mean? Accuracy into them. There's the same situation that's going on with the COVID when they come with these acts and these statutes. They didn't do like when they was leaving the EU. I don't know if you know the story about the EU and England is the EU. Yeah. They did what do you call it? Vote. I don't know what's if I'm using the right name, but they asked the nation to vote, and it came up something like 48 to 52%. Okay. So when the nation voted, they voted to leave the EU. That's a law because the people was involved in it. My brother, am I wrong?
No, I wouldn't even look at it like that. I would look at why are they leaving the EU?
I'm just, I'm bringing this in to show them how a law is really enforced because they made the nation vote for that.
No, but that's not, those are nations. Those are Walmarts.
Well, they made the people vote for it then.
If the people have licenses and passports and whatever from them, and then there's indigenous people who are there.
327, can you put your phone on mute, please? Peace and love to you. Welcome to the show. Yes, go ahead, Kujo.
If the people who are the indigenous people of Europe are not self-determining and handling their own affairs, they're a ward, or they're a prisoner of war. The war has been between the Moors and the Christians for generations. And that's still the war that's going on today. So don't get caught up in the illusion that they've presented to you, that all your Negro, Black, African leaders have been keeping the carry on about some European superiority over us when we're the founders of civilization. We're not Negro, Black, colored. We're enslaved to some Europeans. Matter of fact, we had them enslaved. And everything in Europe comes from the Moors. Everything in Europe has to do with the Moors because that was your jurisdiction. They want you to think you're African and Black. Page 18, Ancient and Modern Britons. Tell me about some Europeans made law, so that means that's a law? What are you talking about? The dark people there are indigenous to over there. And nobody brought you from any... If Matthew da Costa founded Canada, and he's a brother, then we are sailing back and forth to this forever. You know Matthew da Costa founded Canada? It was some Europeans. Brother.
It's knowledge there for us, brother. We got 327 on the line. We're just at the top of the hour. We're going to take this man brother introduce himself, and we're going to probably wait 5 minutes for the community ad break to go through, and then we continue the conversation. Rise up to 327. Welcome to the Iconic Connection. Peace and love to you.
Peace and love, brotherhood, peace and joy. This is Desmond.
Rise up, brother Desmond. Peace and love to you.
Yeah, more power, more power. I find your debate quite interesting because there's two reasons why I rang in. One is the emotional response that some folks tend to respond to things that they do not understand or accept, what some may call cognitive dissonance. So even when the brother is dropping certain knowledge, because some people have a vested commitment to a certain way of thinking and of being, they're unable to incorporate that, which means their critical thinking has been distorted because they're yet to realize that most of us in the diaspora have become colonized to the point where we no longer think or act in our own interests.
Ashe.
So once you realize that, it does make you respond to things in a more, what some would say, aggressive manner, because there is a certain level of frustration. Because when you can see what's happening, but you're unable to educate others about it, there is a certain amount of frustration. Because to some people it is quite simple. We of the diaspora, we have been enslaved, brutalized, and now criminalized. And we're now in a situation where many of us are becoming a little bit frustrated with it all, because the more we tend to explain what is happening, is the more we're vilified. I once had a debate on this program, not yours, but on Galaxy, where I questioned the motive of certain African leaders who, through many of us, our ignorance of what was going on in the early 19th century, 20th century, we've been lied to, and our ancestors were lied to. They have lied to us, and now we're trying to challenge those lies. And the vested interest that we do not like it. Yeah? Are you
Right.
there, my brother?
Right, Brother Desmond. Can you just hold the point there? With Albert is playing right now, so give it
Yes,
about 5
okay.
minutes, and then we give out the conversation. Peace and love to you, brother. Show to everyone.
Hello.
Yes. Let's take a pause for the cause. Rise up to all who is on the stereo street. Peace and love to everyone. Just going into the advert break on the radio show today. We give thanks to everyone who interject. Want to rise up to Empress Shara, rise up to Kassir, Rat L, rise up to Brother Ash. Peace and love to your brother. If you're going to leave an interjection, remember on the radio today, so no swearing. Rise up to my brother Sid L, rise up to Kayan Freeman. Alright, peace and love to everyone. We're think tanking how we can really help our nation to rise. So rise up everyone who is locked in to this space right now. So let's get this track on, and then we're going to get back to the vibration as soon as the advert is finished. Peace and love to all.
Everything will be alright. And the lies around this generation. United we one, the life will be one. Oh, Caribbean. Worry about the circumstances. Together we will take our chance. Worry about the circumstances. Together we will take our chance. We got this. 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 I am the strength within me. I know that we will rise again and I'm sure we can live on fearful. It's a water in the soul we share. Just like you stay us down. Our baby is leaving down. Everyone's looking out for the neighbors. Islands in the Caribbean sun. It's time to be strong and battle. Here to the next generation. Another sun, another one. So you can be
Yes, I tell you, welcome back to each and every one after the outbreak. Rise up to everyone on the stereo street. We've got one message here from the stereo team. Let's get this message out and then we can get back to the conversation. Peace and love to everyone locked in. Rise up to my brother Ash. Make sure you got no swearing in this comment, alright? Peace and love to you.
People open their mouth, words come out, and because we've been so educated, and even after that, like to find out that the word education is like a form of indoctrination. Do you know what I mean? We're not being like in the correct sense of what we think education is. We've never really been taught self. You know what I mean? So if we're going to use certain words, we've got to know what these words mean. So challenge everything Cujo's saying to the word, not to prove Cujo wrong, to prove it wrong. To see if you're right. And then we will go there.
Peace to your brother Ash. And I just want to add, one thing I learned from my brother Sheldon. Rise up to brother Sheldon. Rise up SakinaMoore.com. Definitely go and check it out. He's got some beautiful footwear for all the people. Most of us listen to react than listen to comprehend. I say that again. Most of us listen to react than listen to comprehend. And when we start listening to comprehend, we will start learning. But if you listen to react, you're going to be as ignorant as when you started the first conversation. So peace and love, welcome back to the Iconic Connections. We just touched in the final hour, 11 minutes past the hours up to 3 p.m. right in the UK. We got our brother Kojo and we got our elder Desmond on the phone. Right, so peace and love, brother Desmond. I want you to finish your point before the outbreak. Give thanks for your vibration. Peace and love to you, my elder.
Yeah, more love. I was just about to touch on the topic of what is commonly known as the nation state. Now, the nation state began way back in the 6th century BCE when Kemet, or the army of Kemet, was defeated by the Persians, who installed what they call the Greeks in Kemet. Now, they discovered certain knowledge because up until that time, Africa was on a world mission to dominate the world. And what the Eurasian learned was that it was possible to use ideology to control people. Now, the Greeks developed and adapted what was invented by Kemetic scientists. The Romans copied that from the Greeks, and Northern Europeans copied it from the Romans. So there is a link to modern day society in terms of the imagined community. Now, all states or nations, they're built basically on a myth or on a mythical story. So if you think of the British state, 1,000 years ago, there was no such thing as Britain as such.
Exactly.
It was part of France. Before that, it was part of Rome. Before that, it was nothing more than a diverse group of barbarians. Now, the so-called imagined community, there has to be some, what you would say, some entreatment and coercion in getting people to belong to this imagined community. And the act of belonging is also the same act of exclusion. So with this act of inclusion and exclusion, we have what is today called the modern nation state. But in reality, they do not exist because they're mythical.
Mm-hmm.
And that is why since the 16th century, countries have come in, nation states have come into being, and some have disappeared. Not too long ago, there was the state of Palestine. Now it is the state of Israel. So these things will keep on going and coming. But from an African perspective, I see myself as one of the diaspora from the continent of Africa. And we can call ourselves whatever we may choose to be, but we all need some kind of to make sense of our reality. And when I look to Africa, it helps me to make sense of my existence because I can see people like me. And my concern is that, as I said to a brother recently, my only sadness in life is that I may not live to see Africa reunited as a result of the division of the 1884 Berlin Conference. Because two things is required for a united people, and that is the unification of Africa and a right of return of all Africans in the diaspora. See, individuals may want to go back to Africa, but there isn't a right of return. And if you were stolen from somewhere, you should always have a right of return, because once you're redeemed or you're redeemed from your bondage, you should have that right, automatic right to return to your ancestral land. So until then, I think most of us in the diaspora are nothing more than domestic colonized slaves, because the ground on which we stand is not firm. Others make the rules for us, and we are either entreated or coerced into obeying them. And that creates a certain amount of psychological trauma within us. Because if you're forced to do something against your will, there is a psychological cost to that.
But it's not against your will, though.
Rise up, Brother Kujo. Let me just shine some light in. Brother Desmond, you make some beautiful point. But I just want to give you some knowledge from where I'm coming from. Because the word diaspora and the word African is a fiction, there's no way we're going to ever get any government in the landmass of Africa going to make any provision for the diaspora to return. And second of all of us didn't leave Africa and go to where we was. You know, and because we've been bamboozled and tricked into this, we believe that we need to be looking to go back to that place. And what we started the show to say, my brother, my elder, because I know you're you know what I mean, you got knowledge. If there's pyramids all over the world, and we were the ones that build the pyramids, doesn't that mean that we wasn't just in Africa per se? And because Africa is a corporation, and all the leaders down there are sellout leaders, and they're part of this corporation, if they knew that this was a fact, they would have made preparation for the diaspora to come back, the so-called diaspora. So that's never going to happen, my elder. So the only way the thing's going to change if we realize that, listen, we are people of the world, we're everywhere, wherever we are, we try to get together as a national people, not as individual groups or sectors or gang or crew or tribes, as an individual people, then that will replicate around the world. So because it doesn't matter where the Chinese man is in the world, he's still a China, he's part of a nation. It doesn't matter where the Indian man is a part of the world, he doesn't say, oh, Indian people keep on saying they want to go back to India. China man keep on saying they want to go to China. It's only our people do that. And if the quicker we come out of that mentality, then we will start moving forward, because these are fictions. African and diaspora are fiction. So you can't
but my brother, as I said, all nation states are imagined. Now, I would have thought that regardless of what you want to call yourself or where you want to see yourself, there is a certain amount of myth. But what is important is what makes sense to you, is how you make sense of your existence. Now, in terms of sovereignty or individual sovereignty, even a slave is a master of their own thoughts. So no one can dictate to another one what they should think. And as the messenger Nathan says, the kingdom of God is within man. So in terms of promoting a brotherhood, peace and joy, you cannot promote these principles unless you have a sense of self. So if you don't have a sense of self, it is very difficult to grasp these concepts that you're putting forward. So I need a sense in terms of making sense of my reality, then Africa is important to me. Now, it may not be important to anyone else, but to me that is important because it gives me a sense of geographical belonging. So this is my point. I am not dictating to others that they should do the same, because I don't believe in dictatorship, because each person, as far as I'm concerned, is sovereign. Now, if some see themselves as being a citizen of the world, then so be it. That is their right as sovereign individual to do that. But I'm facing a situation where others are organized on some principle, either of geographical space in terms of a nation state, or some sociological in terms of a cultural connectiveness. So I am facing as an individual organized force. Now, I need to find some way to respond to that by affiliating to some form of organized resistance.
That's the point of nationality, and the point that we're making.
That could be one way.
No, that's the point that we're making. That in the status that we've had, African diaspora, Negro, Black, West Indian, whatever, in those statuses, we got nowhere. It's obvious that we got nowhere. So how about we correct? No, we got nowhere, because don't tell me about Diddy and whoever else means that we got somewhere.
But you do not dictate to others that they haven't gotten anywhere.
No, you
do not have the right to do that.
If that's the case, then why are we on this? Why are we even here? We might as well just go into ourselves and not.
As human beings, we've been exchanging ideas from the time we developed the first language. Did we exchange ideas that worked or exchange ideas that didn't work? We've exchanged ideas that work, that others have adopted.
All right.
Have progressed with it.
Which again is the point of what we're trying to make, that we have seen in history not just from people who look like us, but from other people, that nationality is the order of the day. When they were downtrodden and they were a slave and they were under subjugation to somebody else, guess what they did? They didn't march and picket and do all that stuff. They didn't do any of that. They nationalized and saved themselves. That's what they did.
Mean, this has
right?
been the recent, since the 17th century, you could say there's been a rise of the nation state. But the nation state is no longer of any real relevance.
So you're not part of a nation state? Are you part of a nation state?
Well, I'm part of many nation states.
No. Are you part of a nation state? What nation state are you part of?
Well, presently I am sort of what would say the British part of the British Empire.
Okay, that's not a nation state.
Yeah, but the nation state, the empire came out of the nation state.
No,
so
the British Empire came out of the Moorish Empire because they stole your stuff.
Yeah, well, I already accepted that.
Yes.
We have.
So if the British hold on. So if the British Empire came out of the Moorish Empire, then why would the people there claim British and not Moorish?
Okay, peace. Hold a point there. Look at our brother, Dr. Abu, welcome to the show. Peace and love to you, my elder. Good
man.
Yes, my elder.
Good brother.
You know, we're on a journey, my brother. We're on a journey, you understand? And where we are with the platform, what we have right now, you understand, is what we have to pull us through. You understand? The strong have to help the weak. The literate have to help the illiterate. You understand? And this is not no thing where we are look down and put off and all of these things there. You know, see? If you look at the manifesto of Galaxy, to what we're coming to, we are dealing with the liberation of our African people, you know. It doesn't matter where we are. You understand? But we see achievement happening. So this other people doesn't see. You understand? But everyone have a way to see things in their way. And we must not come and station them that we trying to galvanize our people and bring some form of counseling to our people after what we go through. And I pretend like we know more than. And I know that. We must stop this kind of behavior. You understand? We have to stop it, lad. You understand? I personally, as a management of Galaxy, we just go and switch it down. Because this is not what it's all about, lad. You understand? And this is what I want people to understand. You understand? Because we have people out there that support this station. You understand? That's why we're here today. And there's no one gonna come here and treat them like no third-class citizens for what they do. No matter we talk about nationality or fractality. They are the reality of where we are or who we are at this moment. And I won't say no more thing again. And I just want to know, well, let's conduct ourselves, man, in a proper way that we can move forward. I don't think that we are better than. Better than what? We all have to go to the graveyard. We have to wake up, my people. Good on.
Give thanks, Dr. Abu. Definitely, and that's what we're doing in the big end. That's what I'm saying. You know, we have been going through so much things, other people from different sectors. You know what I mean? Even worse than just words. You know, we don't like to talk to our brothers and sisters in a way, but I'm saying to you, some people listen to react, not listen to comprehend. And when you listen to react, this is what's going to happen. So if we stop doing that, then we can have a conversation, because it doesn't matter what we're doing. As Brother Kujo said, everything, people might say they achieve things. You know what I mean? Brothers in Africa and leaders in Africa and people that's been working very hard, you know, put their life on the line, might think they achieved things, yes. But have we achieved anything as a nation, as a people, where we have an impact on the world, where all other nations that we can look at, we can say, yes, look at the so-called black nation, or look at the so-called African nation, that yes, we are there. No, we haven't, and that's a fact. And the more we start can look into a reality and see for what it is, we can stop being delusional about the facts. Because if we're talking about the achievements that we said, yes, we have achieved anything, we would have seen more in terms of our nation as a people, and we've been respected across the world. So obviously, we are doing something wrong. And that's what we're trying to correct here. You know what I mean? It's not about none of us trying to think that we are smarter or we know anything. It's about correcting what's been done.
Yeah, but my brother, we have to acknowledge that prior to 1884, there was no Nigeria or so many countries, the Ghana or whatever, there was an Africa. But somehow a group of Europeans came together to prevent fighting amongst themselves over the riches of Africa and divided it into sphere of influences. So 6 nations got together and they divided up Africa. Now, while the enslavement or the slave trade came to a bit of an end, because it was still going on to a certain extent, even today, Africa was potentially a free and liberated continent, because the Europeans had taken people from there, but they had not directly controlled it, because in many cases they couldn't live in certain parts of Africa because they would die. And so Africa became a bit of a dead trap for many of them. But they were able to colonize Africa. And in colonizing Africa, they became more aware of the riches that was in Africa. So they decided to prevent war between themselves over the spoil.
So that was just the Europeans? That was just Europeans?
European and America particularly. There were 6
Really?
nations.
So there's no Africans involved?
Pardon?
So you're saying there's no Africans involved in the Berlin Conference and them carving up Africa like that? Only Europeans and Americans, that's it?
Not directly. There was not a Berlin Conference.
Wow. This is some of the stuff that we're talking about.
Can I just get to the point? Quickly? So it seems to me that as in mathematics, when you realize that something is wrong, you try and identify where you went wrong. So for me, we could say that things took a nosedive in 1884, and since then, Africa is still under that division in terms of foreign control.
What do you mean? What do you mean 1884? The Europeans have been pillaging our people for generations before that.
I'm just stating the fact of what is.
No, but what? Not because they say that happened on paper in 1800s mean that it wasn't going on before that. Like you're making it sound like 1800s is the time that they started colonizing or something. They've been colonizing.
No, I'm talking about a specific. So I don't know what the point you're trying to raise. But
no, but what's the point you're trying to raise because it sounds like you're giving the Europeans power.
You sound like a person who has some issues that you need to deal with. Because if you're gonna allow someone to speak, and if you think you're more intelligent than everybody else, then you're a fool.
No, but you're supposed to be asking a question, though.
Perspective.
You're supposed to be asking a question. This is turning into a lecture. I'm not here to be lectured. I never came here to be lectured.
Well, I'm not here to be lectured by you either. So let's start this conversation. I mean, stop interrupting. Allow me to finish my point.
Bro, you've been talking for 10 minutes.
Finish your point.
Well, I'll park up then, brethren. I'll rest. I have no point to exhaust.
Like, what more is there for you to say? This is what I'm talking about. And it's interesting. Only until when the Moors get on here, now they're talking about they're gonna shut this down and all that stuff. 10 years ago, you weren't talking about shut this down. 5 years ago, you weren't talking about shut this down. All of a sudden, now that the Moors are on here bringing truth and facts that people need for their salvation right now, that they can end their problems right now if they listen to the Moors. They don't want that. They want to debate about us being diasporic and us being all this other stuff. When we have Moors who right now, at this point right now, there's Moors right now who they're building their communities. They have doulas. These people aren't going to no hospital with no children and all that stuff. And they're doing it in their free self. They're not doing it with European license. They're doing it in their indigenous status. This could happen all around the world with our people once they adopt the fact that they're Moors. If you don't want to, then you don't have to. We're not begging anyone to. We already know what's up. We've been through all the different schools of thought. Like I told people, numerous occasions. I came out of Nuwapian school. I know about Dr. York and all that stuff. Came out of that. I came out of the Black Indian and we're indigenous school. I came out of the Pan-African school. I came out of the Garveyite school with Tony Martin, who used to be doing classes on philosophies and opinions. I came out the Amos Wilson school, black on black crime and psychology of black boys and all that. I came out from the Naim Akbar school. I'm not dumb Negro. Even when I was a black guy, I had a library. We were the key holders for the Marcus Garvey Center out here in Toronto, Canada, as people like to call it. We were key holders for the Caribbean Resource Center out here. So I know about the black stuff. I had access to buildings and all that stuff. And guess what happened? The traitor sellouts, who were the elders at that time, were the ones who were selling out and didn't want to give the youth a chance because they thought the youth are too radical because they're going to mess up our reputation that we got with the mayor and that we got with the reputation we got with this guy. And then I came to Moorish science and realized that, oh, damn, everybody's sold out. Because no one's telling us about nationality and about our birthrights. No one is telling us about nationality and our birthrights. Everybody's telling us that we're some property of some European colonists. And they carved up our land, so they're the rulers of it. And the laws that they say are the laws, as if natural law doesn't still exist. As if universal law doesn't still exist, which is the laws of our ancient foremothers and forefathers. Our foremothers and forefathers weren't following no statutes and ordinances and acts by some Europeans. There weren't even Europeans on the planet when we were ruling. And everybody was ruler. There wasn't one guy who was a ruler. Everybody was their own sovereign. I think we're able to do what we're supposed to do. And now we get to some state where the continents are separated and now people are on different land masses. They forgot who they are, that they're the indigenous people of the planet. And they're debating the indigenous people about, we're not indigenous. We came here on a slave ship. Some European brought us here. How? How did a European bring you over here when a European couldn't put a boat in the water in the 1600s? Because the Moors were ruling the water. The whole thing with the Somali pirates was because of Moors. That's Moorish stuff. Pirates and all that. Black flag with the skull and crossbones. Black beard and all that. That's us. That's not some Europeans. The Corvette car is a little boat that the pirates used to have to go raid the big boats. That's what Corvette is. It's the most expensive car, isn't it?
That's right.
Oh, the Corvette's the most expensive car, right? It's up there as far as cars. Guess what that car was? That's the car that the Moors used to use as a boat on water and raid European ships. That's where a Corvette comes from. People could tell me their opinion if they want to about a Corvette, but I'm telling you, the Corvette comes from Moorish and Christian wars called the Barbary Wars. And right now, today, you see people repping Corvettes hard, and there's some European people. And they were about, oh, yeah, the white man, this and that. No, the reason why they have a navy is because of the Moors. They couldn't do nothing against the Moors, that they had to create a navy to fight the Moors. And that's why there's a navy today.
Rise up, Brother Kujo. We have one message on stereo. I wanted to talk about the conversation that we had with the Ma yesterday, about how she went to the hospital and had her baby, and she didn't even to get a birth certificate. We just want to talk about it after to show you what Moors are doing right now in 2021. So I want anybody to tell me that any other sector that can actually do that. Let's take this message from Stereo Street and get back to the conversation. We've got our brother Get back on the line, and we've got Dr. Abu. Let's take this message and get back to the phone now. Peace and love to everyone locked in. Peace. Right up, Brother Ash. Let's take this message from our brother Ash.
I will talk about the continent of Africa and then just leave out the fact that West Africa is today called America. Not really what people say Africa was called Africa. Apparently not that. Again, you're not wrong, bro. But people don't want to articulate, well, you know what I mean? Look at the words that they're using and mathematically put them together. Our sentences is a form of algebra. You get me? That way you're saying must equal sense. common sense. So I don't mind it, but yeah.
Rise up, Brother Ash. So definitely want to bring a firm truth. Talking to Empress Reese yesterday, she just had a baby in the hospital. She went there, she told them that she's not putting her baby on the stock market. So she's not taking the birth certificate. They tried to coerce her into doing this, and she stand there square and read the laws of the land, the natural laws, and they have to leave her. Just want to bring that in. So rise up to all is on the call. We got Brother Geb joining us back. I'm sure we got Dr. Abu. No, we got Brother Geb, and we still got our brother on the line. Rise up, Brother Geb. Welcome back to the show. Peace and love to you.
What's up, brother? I just want to again say that we all come to this with our own understanding, and I think that the early 1900s is around the Moorish science and the Garveyite. In terms of Drew Ali, let me rephrase that. In terms of Noble Drew Ali, and Garveyite is a few years later than that, and so the argument seems to be that because the Moorish science is the way, but yet we've all, as a family, as a oppressed family, been at this fight from day one, trying to fight the oppressor. And the argument that we can only do it the Moorish way, which is what I believe I'm hearing, and the fact that if we don't agree with the Moorish way, it sounds you're not willing to stand with us. That is problematic, because that's what I'm taking out of this argument. Because every time a brother, an African, however he wants to define himself, comes with his way, I've got to tell you respectfully that Brother Kujo is tearing that brother down. And I find that's hard for me to stand by and listen to.
No, you're lying on me. You're lying on me.
The way.
You're lying on me.
Let him finish.
He's lying on me, though. He's lying on me.
Let him finish and then we'll adjust it. Let him finish and then we'll adjust it.
You can't lie on me.
Firstly, I'm using my language, so let me just be clear. Whenever I hear you tell another brother to F off, that's tearing.
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. You're lying. You're lying. I didn't say F off. You're lying. You're lying. I didn't say F off. I did not say F off. You're lying.
Okay, you said F you.
Thank you.
You said F you.
Thank
Am I lying there, brother?
No, you're not. That's what I said.
Yeah, go ahead, but finish your point, brother. Yes.
So the point that I'm making, that language is destructive to our youth.
Oh, please. Getting shot by the police is destructive. Getting shot by the police is destructive. Getting shot by the police, that's destructive. Not getting reparations, that's destructive.
Okay, let me just clarify two things. None of the Moors ever said, if you don't want to follow the Moors, that's the only way. We never say that to our people.
Please.
From in this show, I've been saying to our people, stop calling yourself Black, Negro, African, and Caribbean. Find a sovereign nation that our ancestors call themselves in any landmass, and use that to make a proclamation and a declaration to take yourself from being a slave or being attached to them as a slave. That's what we've been saying. So if you don't want to follow the Moor, that's fine. So why don't you go to Al-Qabaland, start with Al-Qabaland, then if you want to start with Africa. If you did the proclamation and declaration using the word Al-Qabaland, it's a different response, my brother. That's what we're saying. So for Brother Kujo to, as he said to you, gone through all these different schools of knowledge, and then now he's coming to share it with us, and he's like, he knows what we're saying is wrong. It's not even a question about it. I can affirm that. So it's like, you're talking to your son, or I should say your brother, not to put it that way, you're talking to your brother and you're telling him something that you know when you study for the fact of it, and then he's going to tell you that you're wrong. It's going to make you feel away because you're here to try to save your brother's life and he's not listening to you. So you're going to get angry, and that's where the real love is. It's called tough love. Sometimes our mother and our father give us that. That's what I'm saying. Sometimes we listen to react instead of to listen to comprehend. This is one of the problems we have in brother again. So I'm saying to us, Yes, Brother Kojo is probably coming across a way, but he's talking about factual knowledge, and it cannot be rebutted.
Well, I'm not going to get into the argument of whether it can be rebutted. I'm specifically talking about the disrespect.
No, you're wrong. You're wrong. That's not
brothers.
Disrespectful. That's not
Fair
disrespectful.
enough, but I want to get the message out. You know, as I'm saying to you, the oppressors been doing worse than this. If the oppressors were just calling us names, we'd be in a better situation. So if our brothers is calling us name, I don't think it's really affecting us in terms of getting the struggle. And, you know, we have to kind of grow from that. You know,
You're a damn crybaby.
is doing worse than that to us.
Get out your feelings and your emotions.
No, brother.
Look, listen.
I challenge the oppressor, and I'm telling you, this brother is talking to us like the oppressor would talk to us, and that's unacceptable. So I disagree. I respect you, brother. I just respectfully disagree with what you're saying. And then I'm going to land. I'm not going to debate. I'm just going to land.
Fair enough, brother. Give thanks. You know, and I would just say to you, brother Geb, the oppressor talked to us disrespectfully, and he physically hurt us, and he killed us, and he murdered us, and he do all kind of things to us. So if a brother is cussing you to save your life, I think we should just shut up and take it. That's my stand on it. To give thanks. Brother Kojo, welcome back to the platform. Are you there, Brother Kojo? Peace and love.
Yeah, I'm here. Peace, man.
The phone line crew, I missed the call. Can you call back the phone line crew? I don't know who that was, but give us a call. So we are 16 minutes to the top of the hour. Yes, Brother Kojo. So as I said to you, I mean, we're talking about the way we're talking to each other. Yes, I feel like we should all talk to each other, respect. But I would just say affirmly, if I have my sister, you know, my physical sister come from my mother, my brother come from my mother, and he's going around the corner, and I know that he's going to get gunshot, and I'm saying to him, don't go around the corner, and he's still going, I'm going to start dragging him, I'm going to punch him, I'm going to start effing, I'm going to blind, and say all kind of things because I'm trying to save his life. So I understand why you come across the way you are, and the more people listen to what I'm saying to you. Stop listening to react and listen to comprehend. And if you comprehend what we're saying, then you take the information, check it out, instead of coming back to have an argument. And that's what we're saying, because Brother Geb, I want to touch on something that you said, Brother Geb. I know you're on the line. You know, the other day I was having a conversation with our brother, I forgot his name, our brother Monday, the Thursday night. And he was talking about the United Nations Declaration for Independence of sovereign people. Brother Geb, I'm sure you hear what I'm saying, the United Nations Declaration for the rights of indigenous people. Yes?
I wasn't on the line, brother. You saying that I was having a conversation?
So when he was talking to Brother Kwame, remember I was talking to Brother Kwame?
I honestly don't.
All right, when he was talking to Brother Kwame, I brought up to you the International Declaration for Human Rights of Indigenous People. And I'm saying...
Oh, yes.
And you was referring to the state that it was made by the UN, yeah, which you think is the UN term for the Europeans. Remember you was having a conversation?
Listen, I think you're quoting the wrong brother, though. I don't think I said...
Brother Geb, remember when we was talking about the United Nations Declaration for the Rights of Indigenous People? And you're saying, so how can that help us when it was made by the European? Do you remember the conversation?
What I'm saying is, I think you're quoting the wrong brother. I was on the show, but I don't think I don't recall giving any input there. I know it was said, I just don't remember it being me.
All right, okay. How do you understand the United Nations Declaration for the Rights of Indigenous People? Do you think that's written by us or is written by them?
Yeah, I can open it. Well, I think you've asked me a question off the cuff, and I would have to really take a look at it before I can answer that question with any form of intelligence, my brother.
Face for that. At least you're being honest with that. Give thanks for that. Because I know me at the conversation, you might not recall. I wish I could get a recording from Brother Kwame. And if Brother Kwame is listening, he could verify that. Me had a long conversation about it. Maybe it's because I was in the morning, you probably was tired, so you don't recall it. But I remember telling you about that document when you're saying to me, can we use a pen or just paper to get these people they won't adhere to when you do paperwork? Because you said you wanted either total separation or all out war. Remember that
Yes,
conversation?
I did say that. But
So, and I said to you, and follow me, brother, let me see if I can jog your memory. When you said that to me, I said to you that, no, we don't need to do that because we have the United Nations Declaration for the Rights of Indigenous People. And then I recall you saying to me, but that's not going to help because that was written by them. How can you use a paper that you oppress the right to save yourself? And I said to you, my elder, listen to what the paper said, the United Nations Declaration for the Rights of Indigenous People. So it wasn't specifically America or England should say, or France made it. It was a united decision for all the people around the world, or the corporation around the world, to recognize the rights of indigenous people. And that's one of the greatest documents we can use to go forward. And none of us not even look at the document. I'm sure all of us who still in the struggle to rise our people has never ever looked at that document. And that's one of the most important documents we have right now in 2021.
yeah, so again, Brother Ikon, I definitely remember you raising the point. I really don't recall what I said, but in listening to you now, I would say that any document written by the European was not written for us. That's what I would say. Now, it may have been written about us, but I don't believe it was written for us. So I would have to go back and I would have to honestly take a look at the document. Just on basic knowledge, if they wrote it, and I believe that you're saying that they wrote it.
The world.
Sorry, brother?
The world nation wrote it. The world nation, the world of nations wrote it.
Okay. So can you define who the world of nations are for me?
Every single nation.
Every flag that's in there.
Every single flag that's in there. Every nation across the world. Every single one.
Okay, so if every single nation across the world, every single flag wrote it, then it's even clearer to me it wasn't written for us because clearly they're not standing by it.
What do you mean? There's African flags in there. What do you mean they're not? How are they not standing by it?
He's saying they're not standing by to say that it's written, but they're not adhering to it because we're not enforcing it because we're trying to show you that you need to use it into your proclamation and declaration. That's what the Moors been telling everybody, but they're not doing it. So if they write a rule to say, this is the way you can save yourself, and none of us don't want to look at it, how are we going to save
How are you going to
ourselves?
save yourself?
Yeah, so let me just say that I would love to take a look at it. I think we can all agree that it's not working, or it hasn't worked. I think we can agree on that much.
No, we can't agree because our people has not been using it. That's why it's not working. That's what I want to agree on. Because our people has not been using it. Because the Chinese use it, and every other nation that declared themselves as sovereign has used it, and it has worked for them. We have not used it. That's why. Because we can't get into the conversation to teach our people about it. That's the problem. Because we end up debating and arguing.
Well, I can't say that we haven't used it. I mean, I need to read it, but I can say that we have been consistently fighting for our rights to exist. So therefore, that to me tells me we must be relying on our basic human rights.
Yeah, well, how could you rely on how could you rely on human rights? How can you rely on human rights when?
Brother, 1 second. So I don't know that I accept that argument. I don't know that I accept it, but I'm going to go back and have a look at it.
All right, fair enough, brother. We got Brother Abu on the line, and we're almost at the top of the hour. I want Brother Kujo to give us some closing conversation. Brother, rise up, Dr. Abu. Then if you want to shine in quickly before we get to the top of the show. Peace and love to you.
Yeah, there's a statement made on the show that we want to shut down the station because of the Moors. We've been shutting off people who disrespect our people. And I tell you one thing, and I'm telling you this, I don't care what truth is where they are coming. If we ever come back and Galaxy Radio and disrespect us, I don't care and I personally will come down, shut him backside out, and I done iron. Because the love is a bloody love. But I'm out of here. Simple as that.
Simple as that.
I'm telling you,
That's fine, Dr. Abu. Yeah, what I'm saying to you.
You know, I never, we are the management never tell you that you cannot translate anything to do with the Moors. You understand? We never do that. You understand? So when I want to come and make this state, you never know when I come next state. You understand?
Rise up, Dr. Abu. I said to you, peace and love. We are here to send a message to our people. Anyone who wants to stand in the way of our people,
no, agents,
they're sellouts.
The platform that you're using.
We deal with that already. You're causing an argument in my show. I'm not finished. You are. You made a point. You made a point.
I'm telling you.
You made a point. You made a point.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear the point.
You made a point. Peace and love. Enough of our leaders, they're agents, and I'm telling you, they're stopping the struggle for our people. I'm not one of them for that. We've got a lot of platform. Galaxy is not the only platform. I love Galaxy. It's not the only platform. And if we continue like this, we're going to stop our struggle that we're supposed to do for our people. That's what I'm saying. Enough of these leaders, they are agents. They come and talk about some little small thing that's got nothing to do with rising our people. As you can hear the conversation that we just stopped, even get to the conversation that is going to look at the United Nations Declaration for the Rights of Indigenous People. This is progress. So we must stop this like a barbershop bar talk when it comes on Galaxy. So I said, I don't really care. There's lots of platform out there. If I'm not on Galaxy, then so be it. I will be still spreading the message to my nation. Because that's what my ancestors bring me here for. So anyone who wants to take it personally, that's on them. I really don't care. Brother Kojo, you have the floor for the last few minutes. Peace and love to you.
Well, once again, just to reiterate the point, go look at those United Nations declarations, the rights of a child, the rights of human beings, and the rights of indigenous people. And you better find yourself in one of those three documents so you can save yourself, because your leaders aren't going to do it. All they're going to have you do is march up and down the place, because that's all they want to do. See you march up and down. And the struggle continues for 500 million generations, and we never be free. This is what they want, right? I'm 70s baby, so we already knew out the womb that we were gonna change stuff around here. We were the ones who were really questioning Pastor Man in Sunday school and all that. We were the ones who were really questioning teachers and stuff like that. You're not trying to pull no authority stuff on me because you have some title. I'm 18. What are you talking? I could sign my own letters. What are you talking about? Send me to office for dumb stuff? Right? We were the ones fighting skinheads. So we came through all the schools of thought. And after going through all the schools of thought and realizing that these people are playing games with us, our own, not some European, because I ain't worried about some European. Right now, I work with children right now, and children love the Moors. The Moors are different. There's something different about that black guy than that regular black guy who just keeps coming here. There's something different about you. How come you wear that thing on your head? How come you have sevens everywhere? What's those things in that chain that you have? How come you have crystals in your pocket? How come you're a vegetarian? How come you don't buy anything from here? How come you always bring your lunch? How come you're always around when I'm about to do something crazy and you're here to tell me not to do it? Something's different about you, not the same as everybody else. So we know that being a Moor is a frequency, a vibration. And many people aren't ready for the vibration because it's not a game. The same way that every other nation in the world has traders, and what do they do with their traders? They don't put them on podiums and give them awards. They put them on the wall, or they tie them to something and have all the people come throw stones at them. And then they get to prosper because they don't have traders amongst them messing stuff up. So be mindful. of who you unify with. And you should be looking to unify with people who have a nationality, not people who are colors, not people who are continents, and people who are making up stuff and saying that they're that. People who have actually nationality, that you can go on your little Google or DuckDuckGo or whatever and punch them up, and something's gonna come up in English and in their own language. Stuff is gonna come up to show you that, oh yeah, okay, these people are probably legitimate. There's more right now.
We got two messages on stereo.
All right, yeah, go ahead.
And then we get back to the show. Rise up to Brother D Moore. Peace and love to you, brother.
Peace and blissfulness. Islam, brother, Ikon, Islam, Grand Sheikh, thank you for your time. Obviously, out of darkness come light, but they don't want to hear the light, they don't want to see the light, and they're not for the light. Peace and blessings.
Rise up to our brother D Moore. So, Brother Kojo, we're about 3 minutes away from the top of the hour. Definitely don't think I'm going to have a minute over, so close up what you're going to finish, and we'll definitely continue the conversation this Saturday on the stereo streets, and it'll be forward in here, hopefully. Managers willingly, I should be here next strong, continue the vibration. So some close up words for the nation before you go, but I would definitely give thanks to the ancestors for you to bring this knowledge and the vibration in trying to get our people out of the shit scene that you're in. And we're definitely looking out for the agents, because a lot of them have been in the struggle for years, and that's why our people are been going the wrong way, because they're leading us down a dark path. So we give thanks for the light that you're shining, and give some peace and love to your brother.
Again, that this is not some Moorish thing. This is a world thing. Everyone has a nationality. If you don't have a nationality, you're classified as a ward. And that could be a ward of the state, a ward of the county, a ward of the city, a ward of the country, a ward of the corporation, a ward of the prison. Whatever it is, you're a ward if you don't have a nationality. So we suggest that you take some time and think like somebody who has a nationality and revisit the United Nations Declarations of Rights. And the rights apply to children, the rights apply to humans, and the rights apply to indigenous people.
What are you?
Right? What are you?
It didn't say black. It didn't say black. It didn't say African. It didn't say diasporan. Listen again.
Nationality. That's our salvation. And like we're saying, this is not a Moorish thing. If you want to go be Ghanaian, Nigerian, Somali, go right ahead. Just have a nationality so we can get some stuff done. We haven't gotten it done as Negro, black, colored, Africans, slaves. So let's stop calling ourselves that and try something new. That's all the more they're saying. Let's try something new. If not, then hey, continue struggling. That's what you've been doing.
Go back to the black and go back to the African, yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what you've been doing anyway.
Trying the same thing, it's not working, no result. It's insanity. It's total insanity. So rise up, brother coach, right up for the
peace and love, bro. Give thanks again.
Peace and love. Yeah, man, more strength. Islam, brother.
Peace and love.
Rise up to our gun.
Common sense was made before book sense. Canaanland Moors presents Common Sense and Quick.
Legendary, bury me in the North Gates Cemetery, February the 4th day, Son of Mary, day ahead of my born day, independence and law, makes it a middle of a lost case. With case laws, we break them down like Jericho, keeping all my lions tamed, I'm Chris Jericho. I'll keep a mask on deck, I'm real stereo, fake pandemics announced over the radio. Annoyed with the game, the joys and the pains, I'm Rob Bass, mix it with rock the hard way. I was in a lost state, prophets told me upright, brought me to a lost gate, cooking like I'm sorbet, prepping like I'm Denzel, Malcolm X, deja vu, Roman J. Israel, and over I lay in plain sight, but people still can't see it, so the snake still showing up, stakes still high, so the race still going up, warriors of the north. Okay, we not slowing up, born in the manger, sworn to be savior. Walk through the valley of the shadows of the death of his slavery. Looking for life, the book of Genesis, astroplane interests, invoke the nemesis, abstract images of past lives kicking in. Danger, running for your life, finishing.
Moorish Omar, key man or oracle, using trinity powers, decipher allegorical, lost in metaphorical, holy books are metaphysic. Facts slap a dirty more or a Drew Ali Craig, calling him Thomas or Walter and get your face caved. Or cut like a close shave, drowned in my brainwaves, squashed by heat waves, activating Kundalini. Abyssinia invaded by Mussolini, Selassie I in exile, reptile in Genesis, Negros appearing real, all I see is false evidence. They are feminists, stomped on by elephants, won't let go prejudice but want Moorish benefits. When you feel the cold magnetic resonance, apis horns of the sacred book, all maleficent, great cosmic mothers, return to blessedness, no pestilence, ace all the testaments, tap into remembrance, never to forget again. Use energy right, not put spell effects on men. Wandering the earth plane with no veil of shades, keeps you a mental slave as the horizon fades. It's been decades since Christian crusades, not enough rebellions, too many vigil bouquets, holding on to the fence, burning on doomsday. War ruled by Mars, it might be on a Tuesday.
Canaanland Moors present Common Sense Quick. What we do here is we add some common sense thinking to everyday situations or comments that may arise. Want to give it a try? Common sense was made before book sense. Canaanland Moors presents